It was the Elizabethan period, when English drama was matured from mysteries and miracle plays to the plays related to human affairs. London saw lots of theatres emerging at that period. William Shakespeare moved to London in search of fate around 1590s. He was then being populated as actor and writer for London theatre. After the year 1594, Shakespeare's plays were solely performed by a company owned by a group of actors known as the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which became London's leading company. Shakespeare, along with a group of players that acted in his plays, created his own theatre on the River Thames in 1599 and named it the Globe Theatre. It's a glimpse of the journey of William Shakespeare's ownership in the realm of drama. And what is the cause behind his popularity? This is the matter of great interest. So the theatre had lots of challenges at the time. The clamorous viewers, crowded hall rooms, the non-availability of female characters were few challenges for the theatres. Moreover, the dramas had upsurging demands that required lots of manuscript. Shakespeare took pain and began to recreate few popular stories into dramas. Public took them as superb creation because the charms of the characters, the novelty of the thought, the wisdom revealed through the speeches, and the universality of the theme made Shakespeare expected to the English audience. The characters Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, Shylock, Antonio were the true representation of human dilemma, weakness, treachery, greed, power, and corruption. Again, the female characters also got eternal appeal for their beauty, wisdom, frailty, weakness, and also greed. Ophelia, Portia, Desdemona, Lady Macbeth could surpass the time and remained eternal creations. William Shakespeare wrote at least 37 plays that scholars know of, with most of them labeled as comedies, histories, or tragedies. From histories written in the early 1580s to the early 1590s, Shakespeare moved into comedies, which were described as such for their comic sequences and pairs of plots that intertwined with each other. Among the most well-known are A Midsummer's Night Dream, Merchant of Venice, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, and Twelfth Night. For the last portion of his writing career, Shakespeare focused his work on tragedies and problem plays. In this era, which is acknowledged as the playwright's best creation, he wrote the works called Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Coriolanus, and Macbeth. The volumes of narrative poems that Shakespeare released were called Venus and Adonis and the Rape of Lucrece. Both volumes focused on the problems surrounding uncontrollable lust and the guilt associated with it. Shakespeare's sonnets were a collection of over 150 works that were published late in his life and without any indication of when each of the pieces was composed. It is widely thought that the sonnets were a part of a private diary that was never meant to be read publicly but nevertheless were published. The sonnets have a contrasting set of subjects. One set chronicles the poet's lust for a married woman with a dark complexion, known as the Dark Lady, while the other chronicles a conflicted or confused love for a young man, known as the Fair Youth. The sonnets accurately portray the heart of the poet, leading the public to speculate on Shakespeare's views on religion, sex, marriage, and life. Shakespeare could also provide enormous phrases, words to English. Phrases such as breaking the ice or heart of gold are colloquial now, but are also known to have originated in Shakespeare plays and sonnets. There are over 7 dozen examples that can be known from common life and be directly attributed to Shakespeare. Aside from phrases, it's also commonly knowledge that the dramatist introduced upwards 1700 original words to the English language. In fact, words such as lonely, frugal, dwindle, and more originated from Shakespeare, who transformed English into the populist language that it is today. The exact date of Shakespeare's birth is unknown, but it's accepted that he was born in April of 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon in Warwickshire, England, and baptized in the same month. Shakespeare retired from public life in 1610, right after the bubonic plague began to subside its attack on London. William Shakespeare died on April 23, 1616, and was buried at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford 2 days later. And he is considered one of the greatest writers who have ever used the English language so superbly.